Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. All right. I know that everyone is probably feeling a lot of things right now. So we're just going to go ahead and kick it straight off with some baby bees if everyone's feeling good. Everyone feeling okay after your first workshop? Can I get some baby bees in the chat if you are? Awesome. It's okay to send some baby P's and Q's. We know that the first one's probably a little overwhelming, but we appreciate you guys sticking around, getting through it. You should be super proud of yourself because a third of your workshops are done. So you are so close. You're like, we're almost there. So we're going to hear from one of our partners today, and then we will break for lunch. So just like sit back, relax, this is your time to just kind of take a breather, decompress, and then we will jump into lunch, and then we're coming right back and doing a ton more workshops. So let's just go ahead and kick it over. I'm going to go ahead and pull up a quick bio. So for those of you who don't know, I don't know if we've fully run through the partners at this point. I think everyone has kind of picked up on it as we've talked about it, but we put this together with Blacks in Technology. So we heard from Dennis last night. And then we also have the Austin Urban Technology Movement here, which has been a wonderful partnership that James has helped us forge for a really long time. I got to throw that in whenever we can. So like we've been forging this partnership for a very long time, and we're really excited to have the Austin Urban Technology Movement here. We also are working with Houston Tillotson and G Code House. So there's a really great presence here, and I'm really excited. We'll hear from G Code House later on today. But right now we have Michael Ward Jr., and he is the president and CEO of the Austin Urban Technology Movement. So he's a social entrepreneur focusing on technology and socioeconomic development. Michael is currently the president and CEO and sits on a few boards throughout Central Texas focusing on STEM and workforce development. So that's a big theme that you'll hear throughout this entire event, is that we're really focused on diversity and inclusion in the workforce. So originally from Miami, Michael began his career at Oracle in enterprise sales, focusing on cloud and on-premise technology. During his time there, Michael also led Oracle's Black Employee Resource Group, so an ERG. You'll hear that a lot throughout our event as well. And in order to increase upward mobility of Oracle's Black employees across the United States, Canada, and Brazil. After Oracle, Michael transitioned to ADP and learned the impact human capital management, so HCM, has on a company's sustainability, culture, and productivity. Before leading Autumn full-time, Michael was consulting on diversity, equity, and inclusion practices in the technology industry. So we heard from Sam Klein this morning, Dr. Klein. She does the same thing for Galvanize. So this is a big movement that I'm really proud to be a part of and to help support. Before starting his tech career and entrepreneurship journey, Michael earned a degree in political science and global studies at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. And he is happily married, a Miami Heat fan, loves to travel and eat good food made with love. So I will go ahead and pass it over to him and let him take it from here.
Perfect. So thank you so much for that intro, Lauren. I do appreciate it. And what I want to do now is share my screen. So can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So what I'm going to do, I have the chat up on another screen here. So I'm gonna try my best to monitor the chat as I'm going through the presentation. But Lauren, Brooks, anybody else on the team, please just feel free to interrupt me if I miss something or someone has a question. So everybody that's in attendance, thank you so much for joining and being part of this opportunity just to be engaged inside the tech industry. I really get excited anytime I have the opportunity to talk about technology, talk about the work that we're doing inside technology, and really inspire other individuals to get inside the tech industry, because there's so much inside the tech industry. And we're gonna unpack a lot of that today. But please be engaged, ask questions, feel free to use the chat. I've seen y'all already has a couple tidbits around the chat, with the B's and the P's and the Q's. So please continue to do that, because I want to make this an opportunity to provide value and to give y'all some type of experience or guidance that I have learned along the way inside of just my journey inside the tech space. So as stated, I'm Michael Ward Jr. I'm the president and CEO of Austin Urban Technology Movement. And before I begin, I just want to, so sensitive. Oh, oops, let me go back. There you go. There you go. So before I begin, I just want to just go through kind of just what the roadmap is going to be for today. So on the left side, we have just a presentation flow. So I'm gonna go give some information about my background, about who I am, talk about my experience, so you get a better sense of the work that I'm doing as we begin to talk about technology and why it's so important. I'm gonna share with you my journey through technology, what I've seen here now being inside the space for over 5 years. I'm gonna talk about the why behind technology, my involvement in technology, and then all of our roles and responsibilities in tech. On the engagement side, please use the chat. I'm a big fan of using the chat. If there's something you like that I'm saying, let's get some exclamation marks, right? I like to see exclamation marks, get everybody excited. And I'm also going to ask for ones and twos. You'll see ones and twos that come up just throughout the presentation. I may ask you if you know a particular company, if you know for a particular trend, if you're studying a specific college or not college, or if you're studying a specific coding language, or maybe you're interested in occupation. So ones and twos will be asked throughout the presentation. And once again, let's use the chat to do that. And then submit questions. I don't want to be talking for the entire time, right? So I'm going to pause and see if there's any questions throughout. If I forget, please just submit the question, because I do want to use this time to answer questions for you all that you have. And I'm pretty sure if you have the questions, someone else may have the same question as well. So please submit questions, and let's make this as engaged as we can, because I know some of us can be virtually tired given all the different Zoom meetings or GoToMeetings or Google Meets or Microsoft Teams, you name it. So, okay, let me right click. There you go. So just to begin, background about me and myself. So I am here in Austin, Texas. I've been here for going on 5 years now, going on 6 years. But before I came to Austin, I got my degree from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. So from my bio, I'm a Tar Heels fan. So Tar Heels all day. That's my #1 school. And I got my BA in Global Studies and Political Science. And I always like to start with my degree, because people always ask me, once they realize what I do, they ask, what did you study in college? And I was not a technical person. I did not study engineering. I did not study anything around data science. I was not technical whatsoever, even though I knew what technology was, right? So I knew what a smartphone was. I knew what a PlayStation was, right? I'm not an Xbox fan. So at the time it was PlayStation, my phone and my computer was really all I thought about technology. I really wasn't thinking about, my TV or my car as technology, which is things I've learned throughout the years and just throughout my journey. Before I studied at University of North Carolina, I also got my AA from Miami-Dade College, International Relations. So everything that I was studying was on community development, social development, economic development. That's really where my focus was when I was in school. However, when I was a senior about to graduate, a recruiter reached out to me from Oracle. She said, "Hey, have you ever thought about technology?" And I'm like, "No, what exactly do you mean by technology?" She said, "Have you heard of Oracle?" And I'm like, "No, what's Oracle?" So I did some research on my side, and I realized that Oracle was a database company that has grown and expanded to being a full stack tech company for both front end and back end technology. And that's exactly what I did at Oracle. I actually started my tech career in sales, focusing on back end and front end technology. Really on the cusp was when we started transitioning from on-premise to the cloud, and what the cloud really means for our technology future. So Oracle really opened up my doors, just opened up doors for me to the entire industry that was open to me. However, I was not thinking about technology beforehand, right? I was thinking about being a foreign officer, being in politics, being an ambassador, a diplomat. That's what I was trying to do. But the opportunity for Oracle, it intrigued me. It piqued my interest. I decided to submit or accept the offer and start my career in Oracle. Throughout Oracle, I did a couple of different things. In addition to sales, I was also leading their internal employee resource group. So I started getting deeper into the benefits of technology, but also some of the challenges. And I'm going to dive deep into the challenges as we talk more about the tech industry, but I've learned a lot at Oracle. I decided to leave Oracle after 3 years and started working at ADP, Automatic Data Processing. So at ADP, I was a district manager, and I focused on human capital management. So now I was taking my technology experience and my sales experience from Oracle, and now I was helping business owners and different companies really focus on what they need to do for their employees, right? So how can a business owner, how can a manager, how can a senior level individual, how can they inspire their employees? How can they make sure their employees have what they need to be productive, to be happy, to actually stay at these companies and perform to the best of their ability, and then have that culture seep into the organization so that the overall organization can be successful. So my Oracle experience really allowed me to excel at ADP and begin to understand the value that technology can play from a business standpoint, but also just the value that technology has in our community as a whole. Fast forward, I left ADP and I started working at Primal 7. This was a fitness technology company here in Austin. It was a local startup. So I went from a really big multi-billion-dollar company to a smaller billion-dollar company to Primal 7, which is a startup. So it was a very interesting shift of direction experience for me to just leverage all the years of sales, business development, HR, employee engagement, and really take that to a startup to help them grow and develop. And this is kind of how the first years of my tech journey just started. It was a lot of research. It was a lot of being exposed to different aspects of technology and being able to start thinking about what is the difference of technology and what are the different roadmaps in technology. So can I get some ones just for those who are familiar with Oracle? Now, have you heard of Oracle before being a database company? Can I get some ones? Okay, cool, perfect. Can I get some twos for ADP? Sometimes when I say ADP, people think about ADT, which is a security company. So ADT and ADP, two different companies. I remember I went to a meeting when they thought we were ADT, and I was like, no, we're ADP. How did you get that confused through all the documentation we sent you? But hey, things happen. So I see some ones, I see some twos. Beautiful. So when I realized that, my background really shaped who I am today, I just see the evolution that because I got into technology just opened up the doors for me. So what I do now, I'm the president and CEO of Austin Urban Technology Movement. We are a tech and nonprofit startup, and we operate just like that. So AUTM has been around since 2016. Since the entire time I moved to Austin, I've been involved with AUTM. In the beginning, I was a volunteer. I didn't want to offer any more time and energy than what I was able to give because I was at Oracle. I was leading a team there. I was doing what needs to be done in Oracle's employee resource group, but I was volunteering with AUTM because the work that they were doing aligns with what I was trying to do from an employee resource group standpoint. So at Oracle, this is back in 2016, in addition to my sales job, I was responsible for recruiting, retention, and upward mobility of the Black employees. And AUTM wanted to bridge the gap between the Black and Hispanic communities in the tech industry. So just through my roles at Oracle, I wanted to provide resources and I want to connect with local organizations so I can help solve some of the goals that Oracle had while also being engaged with the community. However, that was in 2016. Since then, AUTM has changed. A lot of the volunteers that we had that were all at other tech companies, we had Amazon, Google, IBM, Facebook, people started moving, people started leaving. And ultimately, I decided to leave corporate America in 2018 and actually lead this organization full time, formalize it, and actually turn it to a tech nonprofit startup. So I'm going to dive deeper later in the presentation about AUTM and what we actually do. But because now I spend majority of my time and all my time in technology and really unpacking what the opportunities are, how can people get into the tech industry, what needs to be done once you're in there to survive and thrive. Now it opens up to me sitting on other boards that align with that same mission and vision. So in addition to my full-time job that I do, leading a company, being president and CEO, I also sit on different boards. So I'm on the board of UT of Austin in their engineering school. So shout out to the Cochrane School of Engineering. So if anybody wants to talk to me about that, feel free to reach out. We could talk about some things there. I'm also the board member of the Greater Austin STEM ecosystem. So I focus a lot on technology and STEM. Technology is a part of that. There's also STEAM going in the arts as well. So there is a lot of focus that I have just making sure that anything that I'm a part of, whether it's regionally, whether it's partnership standpoint, that we are uplifting the opportunities around technology. So whether that's through UT, opening up more opportunities for people to get their masters, whether it's through Greater Austin STEM ecosystem, making sure that our educational foundation can actually support more people going into technology as a whole or to STEM as a whole. But then I'm also on the board of Austin Forum on Technology and Society. And this really brings the full spectrum together when we think about how important is technology in our society. So what does that mean when we talk about connectivity and broadband access, right? Does everybody have access to technology? But what about technology around cryptocurrency, right? So there's a huge focus around blockchain, around Bitcoin, around these new digital currencies that are coming up. But there's also robotics, right? There's a huge focus right now around AI, around autonomous vehicles, around drone technology, right? So there is so many advancements that are coming on in technology that are impacting our society today. So all these boards that I sit on really just connect with the work that I'm doing through Autumn, so that we can begin to reshape what the tech ecosystem looks like and provide these opportunities or these pathways to those that may not know what they are, right? That may not know how to start, that may not know how to just, participate in these opportunities. So, one of the reasons why I'm here today is to share, right? Is to educate, is to provide, new ways of thinking about getting inside the tech industry and hopefully, inspire you to continue doing what you're doing, or have you then go and tell someone else to start doing this, right? Because I'm a big believer that technology is the future. And if you are not engaged in technology in some way, shape, or form, you are going to be left behind in our society. And I really don't want that. So what have I learned through my technology or through my technology journey so far? So I officially started my journey in 2015. So it's been 6 years now. I'm here in Austin, been in Austin for almost going on 5 years now. And Austin is a growing tech hub. I'm not going to say it's a tech hub now because there are still some gaps that prevent people from excelling inside that ecosystem. So in order for it to really be a tech hub, it has to provide the foundation, the framework, and there's some things that we need to do in order to get there. One of the things that we need to do is fully understand where are the opportunities, right? What is the direction inside the tech industry? Because when we say tech industry, a lot of people think about a white guy in their shorts in California, coder, maybe Indian. Those are the general stereotypes and generalizations that we think about when we hear about technology. You don't think about a Black woman startup in Austin. You don't think about a Hispanic individual creating a fintech company or maybe some around health tech, right? We don't think about blockchain and cryptocurrency as technology, right? For those that are really not involved, they don't know what technology really means to the masses and how can they really get engaged inside that. And can anybody do it, regardless of your gender, regardless of your ethnicity, regardless of your experience level, right? Is technology actually open to everybody? And the answer is yes. You just got to know where to look. So some of the leading tech jobs that are in Austin, that are in Central Texas, that are in the United States, a lot of them are on the technical side, right? So you definitely have a huge focus around software developers, software engineers, right? That's a huge, big push around app development, right? All these smartphones, all these different devices, startups, everybody's creating apps, right? So there's a huge push for anything around the software developing, software engineering side. But because of the increase of app development and the increase of usage on the internet, well, now cybersecurity is also seeing a huge increase because now we have to protect ourselves, right? There's a huge focus there are huge conversations that says that the future of warfare is actually going to be, cyber warfare, right? It's actually not going to be the wars that we know today, but we're going to cripple, countries, cripple societies, and really create, challenges by hacking, right, through this digital space. So being a cybersecurity is something that I see being one of the huge opportunities because a lot of demand is going to become for individuals that have these skill sets. Then we also have network administrations, right? Everything has a signal. Everything's connecting to one thing or another, whether it's through Bluetooth, whether it's through 5G, there's even Wi-Fi 6 that's out now. There's other evolutions that we're doing around just whether it's phone signal, whether it's broadband, internet access, and even through different types of microchips that we are creating now. So just being able to understand the infrastructure of how we are communicating amongst devices across landlines, across countries, across states, that making sure that our infrastructure is protected is going to be another demand. And then, of course, we have IT support and database, right? The more and more data that we have, the more and more individuals we're going to need to have the skill sets to comb through that data. And so just put inside the chat, I'm curious, are any of these of interest to you, all right? If you're interested in being a software developer, put it inside the chat. If you're interested in being in cybersecurity, put it in the chat. If you're folks on IT support, put it in the chat. I'm very curious to see, where's the focus right now? And a lot of the times is around software developing. And that's where we see the most because there's over 2 million jobs and availability that are out there. But once again, these are just the ones that are in demand. Beautiful, beautiful. I see data science, software engineering, okay. Then on the right-hand side, it just shows the test most in demand tech jobs, right? So just correlates with the tech occupations that we see. And this is from 2021. I actually didn't put the websites, but the right side is from Indeed. On the left is from CompTIA. So on the right-hand side, it goes into the same thing we were talking about earlier, security professionals, cloud architecture, database, program systems. We also have network administrations. So these are just where the industry as a whole is moving towards. And I didn't focus a lot of non-technical jobs, but I'm going to talk about that for a second because I got my start in sales, right? So sales and technology has a near dear place in my heart because not many people think about sales as a pathway into the tech industry. However, there are many non-technical jobs that you can do inside the tech industry. So whether you work in sales, whether you work in marketing, whether you work in finance, administration, all these roles exist at Oracle. All these roles exist at Facebook, at Apple, right? So even if you're not a technical person, it does not mean there's not a pathway for you inside the tech industry, right? I want to make that very clear because a lot of times when we're talking to students, talking to learners, talking to adults, they say, oh, well, I'm not technical. And it's like, okay, well, neither was I, right? I got started in sales. And because I was working at a tech company, I became technical. I began to understand the industry and how pieces move, but that's because I was exposed to it. And the same thing can happen to anybody, regardless of their experience, regardless of the background. It's all about just understanding what that means and then dive deeper. However, outside of opportunities, I've realized that not everybody has access to these opportunities, though. So even though the tech industry is booming, there are several jobs, several in-demand skills that are out there. Not everybody has access to them. And what I mean by that is when we think about just the makeup of the tech industry, it's predominantly white male dominated or it's Asian dominated. And even on the Asian side, we could unpack that and say predominantly Indians, right? So now I've been looking at the entire continent. And if you do look in the entire continent breaking down, you will see disparities, but that's a whole nother conversation. What I want to show right now is that just looking at the break or the makeup of the tech industry, there's a disconnect between what we see in the United States. So looking at the right side, we can actually start with the right graph or with the right side first. You look at how the tech representation in compared to the US population that doesn't match. And actually there's an overrepresentation of whites and Asian inside of the tech industry. So looking at the middle section here, whites predominantly count for about 57, 58% of the tech industry. However, the US population for the whites is about 60%. So it's really close, about right in line. But then when you look at the US population for Hispanics and Blacks, you see that less than half is represented inside the actual tech industry. So looking at Hispanics, it's 18%, Blacks is 13% as far as the population that they have in the United States. But inside the tech industry, they're less than 10% of the makeup. So when we think about opportunities, when we think about the development of the tech industry, it's saying, hey, we have a long way to go until we're able to make sure that we're providing opportunities for everybody, regardless of where they live, regardless of what they look like, regardless of what their experience level is. Let's provide the foundation so people can generate the skills needed for the jobs that are here today, but also all the jobs that are in the future that we haven't been created yet, right? Everything is a build-up of skills, but if our communities don't have the skills, well, then what does that build-up look like? And then on the left-hand side, looking at some of the big tech companies such as Apple, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, and you compare their change in diversity from 2014 up until 2019, you see maybe a 1% to 2% change when we think about the Black and Hispanic community. So what this is showing is that despite how many opportunities there are inside the tech industry, number one, not everyone has the opportunity to develop the skills to enroll in those, either in those jobs or get offered those jobs or enroll into any programs that allows them to develop the skills that's needed. So, through my experience in the tech industry, even working at Oracle, the reason why AUTM was created was because there was not enough Black people or Hispanic people inside the tech industry, right? When we think about in our school system today, the school system can't adapt as quickly as the tech industry can, right? Because the tech industry is so fast, it's constantly changing. So we're using the same policies, the same processes, the same methods to try to engage people or get people interested inside the tech industry. We're not going to be able to actually fill the jobs and the opportunities that are out there, despite what the individual person is. And that's a very scary thought because the future is technology. We're just going to continue to expand and advance our society, but there's going to be a break in our system if we don't actually prepare people for those jobs right now. And we see that just based on where the actual jobs are today. So looking at Central Texas, more than half of the jobs are STEM related. So whether that's science, whether that's technology, engineering, math, more than 50% of the jobs are in those fields. So if you're not interested in STEM at all, you automatically lose out on more than half of the jobs that are available for you. So now I'm putting on, my degree hat, right? I'm thinking about the economics of our community. I'm thinking about a country being sustainable, right? I'm thinking about businesses generating revenue. I'm saying if we don't have a workforce, if we don't have a community that fully understands internet, that fully understand computers, there's no way we can begin to understand digital currency. There's no way we'll begin to understand robotics, right? And I'm talking about the masses. I'm not talking about the top 10% or the top 50% of those that are privileged, that goes to private school, that have all the resources. By all means, not talking about those, individuals. Talking about the individuals that don't know how to start, that aren't being successful inside the tech industry, that haven't had a good foundation, a good education system, right? That's low income, that doesn't have the means to really benefit themselves. How are they going to prepare for these jobs that are coming here? So when we think about workforce development, when we think about training, we're looking at the entire community and thinking about education and workforce development is one and the same. So we need to make sure that we are providing opportunities for our community members, regardless of their age, to get and educated in STEM, because that is what the direction is. Now, on the other side of that, I mentioned education. We realize that yes, there's a huge demand for STEM related jobs. However, there's a decline in STEM related bachelor degrees. So if our current education system says you go to high school, you graduate, and you go to college, you graduate, you get a job, but the graduates that are coming out don't have the experience to fill those jobs, well, then we're going to have several different jobs that are open and available. Which is why we've seen an increase in certificates, an increase in certifications, an increase in apprenticeships, right? Different pathways for individuals to find their pathway inside of the tech industry because of the demand. So I'm hoping and I'm praying that these types of conversations, this mindset of saying everyone should be inside the tech industry. And the tech industry for me means you either work in the tech industry, you build in the tech industry, or you use the tech industry, right? So you work, you build, you use, right? So right now, given the pandemic and everybody moving to online learning, online conferencing, we are all a part of the tech industry. You're using your smartphone, you're communicating over Bluetooth or over Wi-Fi. You are using technology, right? If you have a vehicle that drives you from point A to point B, you are using technology, right? So we are all part of the tech industry. But in order for us to be innovative and really be able to see the, what's the right word to use, to see the advancement of our society as a whole, we need to remove the barriers that makes it difficult for people just to understand the basics of technology so that we can begin to move forward, right? So everybody who's learning coding languages right now, we should have learned this in elementary school. We should have learned this in middle school. We should have learned this in high school. So by the time we actually graduate, now we're building products, right? Now we're solving challenges. Now we're able to take on climate change. We're able to take on food insecurity, right? We're able to address all the challenges through technology because we all have different experiences that if we had the skill sets, we can create new things, right? And that's, a lot of part of this conversation. So I think I see a comment there that from Kayla. That's interesting because if everyone needs to be in tech, then why are some schools trying to wean kids out of it? So I'm gonna say a couple of things on that. I'm gonna say it's two things. In my opinion, is number one, just truly lack of knowing, right? If you are not involved if you're not deep inside the tech industry, you can't fully fathom how great these opportunities are because you're just so used to what you know, right? So I can't fault individuals that aren't involved inside this tech industry to see all the different jobs, to see all the different skills and demand, to understand what the employer needs, to understand what the actual society needs. Is a disconnect. And we don't have the right people in the right room all the time. And then last but not least, I believe that some people just see technology as what's the right word? As an equalizer, right? And certain individuals want some to be at the top, some at the bottom. But with technology, if you know that you can learn anything online, well, now there's no barrier for you, right? Anybody could be successful. Everybody can have the American dream, right? And that's some part of the reason why a lot of people come to America is for that freedom to learn and do what it is that they want to do so that they can advance their career, advance their lives. And right now, technology is one way to do that. So Okay, I'm over time here, so let me go through this. So my role in technology, and this is also the same role for everybody, and I'm gonna get through how we could all play a role in this. So the way that I look at technology is about building the workforce development ecosystem to increase diversity and eliminate the skills gap in tech. So through Austin Urban Technology Movement, as a president and CEO, we increase access and exposure for the tech industry, which is talking at events such like this to open people up about the tech industry. We build social capital. So all of our events, right, we make sure that there's employers there, we make sure there's mentors there, we make sure there's sponsors there, we make sure there's advocates, right, other people who look like you, so you can just begin to expand your network. Three, we upskill and reskill. So hence our partnership with Galvanize and being a part of Forge today is to train people, educate, showcase why technology is important. And then of course, advocate, right? Because regardless of what we do, if policies and initiatives don't align with what we're trying to do, well, it's going to be very difficult for us to actually get to the end goal that we're looking for. So how do we do that? So this is some of our programming events. We share stories around the tech industry, whether you are technical or non-technical, right? So we go to K through 12, we go to colleges, we invite people in the community to events, and we're all about increasing exposure. So some of this was before COVID, those that were in person, and the top right and bottom left, these were done virtually and online. Then we also build social capital through our events. So we have different events we have throughout the year. Once again, some were in person before COVID, others were virtually. And then we also, other way, there we go. And then we also advocate, all right? So throughout this whole entire pandemic, we've been donating devices. Just yesterday, we donated 10 devices and also engaged and had people enroll in our programs in order to go through development and get the certificates and skills that they are looking for. So definitely, there's many ways for people to be a part of the ecosystem, right? So whether you're looking for training, great. Share someone about the information about training, right? Maybe someone needs a device, great. Get them help, right? Connect them with someone so they could get a device. Some need help with internet access. Great, connect them with the resources to do that. So we can all play a role in solving this problem. And then, last but not least is, our entire roles and responsibility, right? So I'm gonna say get involved, right? That's the main thing that I'll say is to get involved. And one way you could get involved through AUTM is through volunteering. So regardless of your experience level, you can always share your story. A lot of what we do is sharing people's stories because your story is going to resonate with somebody, right? It may not resonate with somebody you're talking to today, but everything that we do is online, is recorded, is shared. So whoever you are, when you're reading that content, looking at that, you can get the help that you need. So definitely reach out to us if there's any way for you to be engaged, and if AUTM is not the right opportunity, we'll connect you with those organizations because we're all about partnerships. As Lauren mentioned earlier, everything's about a partnership, and the way for us to scale and solve this problem is through more and more partnerships. And this is my last slide here. Yeah, so I just thank you so much for the time to talk and engage. I know that I ran over time, so I wanted to have some Q&A at the end of that. But feel free to follow me at Mitch Ward Jr. If you just Google Michael Ward Jr., I'll come up on social. And you can also follow AUTM at AUTMTX. And once again, if you just type in AUTMTX, will come up as well. So I'll end there and hand it back to you, Lauren.
Thank you so much. I personally, I want to get like the elephant out of the room really quickly and just recognize the fact that Brooks, James, and I know that we are three white people running this event, but we so appreciate everyone who's contributing and being here, and the education that you're providing us and teaching us how to be good allies too. So we really appreciate that. Michael, we'll go ahead and let you go for the day. So we really appreciate your time. We will share all of your information in the Slack channels as well. So that way, if anyone wants to connect, they can. I highly recommend, if anyone can, do get involved with AUTM. They're a wonderful organization. We love being their partners and we love working with them. And so, I cannot recommend it enough. And we will share all of that information on how to get involved, how to connect with Michael in our post-event documents. So definitely. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, everybody. And please, if you do have questions, please submit it to Lauren and the team, and I will definitely address those and send that out, as well later on. So reach out, and thank y'all so much. Enjoy the weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Oh, go ahead, LT.
Yeah, you go ahead, Brooks.
Well, we are done with the speaker for right now. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we are going to go ahead and, unless there are any other operational questions that anyone has questions for James or myself or LT in terms of the way that the exercises are working or the Zoom rooms or anything like that, feel free to stick around. If you don't have any questions, feel free to break early. We've got a little bit less than an hour and a half to break and have lunch. During that time, please do take a break. It is very important to all of us. And through your journey in learning software development and learning these new skills, it is important to literally step away. There's actual neurology behind that, behind the importance of walking away from a thing as you're learning it, because it will help you learn faster. So make sure you do take a break. But during this time, you are also welcome to get back with your teams and work with them. James touched on this in the data science side of things. I want to bring this up in the main room as well. By no means do you feel like you need to complete all of the exercises, all of the questions. In fact, they are designed so that you can't in the time. It not only helps us score, but it also helps you just get as far as you can and kind of measure yourself in terms of how far in this am I learning? How far in this am I working? I do want to kind of harp on this, that you should be working with your teams though. That is a crucial skill to build while learning these skills, while working as a software engineer or as a data scientist, or really anything in like a hard technical role in a tech space. You will be working collaboratively. That is just something that happens. You are constantly going to be collaborating with other people. That's why we require that you work with teams. So if you do want to spend some time, Slack your teams. You're all on the Slack channel now, so you should be able to message each other. If you want to find a time during lunch, you're welcome to. If you want to find time during another break, you're welcome to. If you want to take the full hour and a half to take lunch, you're welcome to do that as well. So just wanted to provide that info. James, it looks like you got a point.
Yeah, I have one brief thing. Data science people, I put in the Slack channel but I've updated the collab with that Luke section. I apologize about that. Make sure you read through it because there are questions about it, and ping me if you have any questions. The other thing is, given that we went over by so much, I'm going to open the Zoom room 30 minutes early before the second workshop. So if you want to work with your teammates in there in your breakout rooms, you can use that time to do so. Sorry about that.
No worries. Thanks so much for making the adjustments, James. Anyone have any questions? Actually, let me just get a baby B check. Are we feeling good so far? Oh, big B's.
We love the capital B's.
Love the big B's. All right. Loving it. Cool. All right. So we will stop talking. We will let you go take your break. So get out of here, take your break, do whatever you need to do. We will see you back in your workshop links after lunch. So you'll get a reminder in Slack. Don't worry about it. And then, gosh, I'm going to try and do math right now. This is why I'm not an engineer. So 1 o'clock our time, 2 o'clock Central, 12 Pacific, 3.
What are you asking? What are you trying to figure out?
When we're coming back for the second workshop, right?
This workshop is at 12 Pacific.
Yeah.
So that's 2 Central and 3 Eastern.
Yes. Okay. I had it. So thank you for bearing with me. And
I do see a question in the chat about the breakout room. So the links for when you come back are the same. You still go to the software engineering or data science links that we sent in those channels. We're going to send another batch of reminders later. So don't worry, just pay attention to your Slack. And Helene, you've raised your hand. I wanted to see that as well.
Yes, I know for data science, they're going to open the room 30 minutes early. Is that the same for software engineering?
We won't be opening the breakout rooms. Actually, I will go ahead and do the same. I and Eric and Kelly may not be in there, but I will open it and let y'all go into those breakout rooms or make your own. We can figure that out. And when I open it, we can discuss.
Got you. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yep.
Awesome. Now, everyone take at least some of a break, and we will see everyone back in the rooms at the appropriate times.
Yeah. Drink water. We'll see you later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye, y'all. Stick around for just a minute or so in case anyone has any questions. No questions. All right, I'm going to close out the room. Y'all take a break. We'll see you soon. Bye.